He's been called the king of horror, and it's not just because his last name happens to be King. I'm talking about best-selling author Stephen King, whose latest novel puts a new spin on the idea of the mind healing the body. The book is called Duma Key. Stephen King, nice to have you back. How you doing?
It's really good to be here, Matt.
I'm reading the research last night, and someone asked you what inspired this book, and you told a story where you were walking down a deserted road, and you came to a corner, and you started to think about what might lie around that corner. Do you remember what you said?
I do, and I'd seen a sign that said, "Caution, children," and I thought, what kind of children do you have to be cautious around? And I started to have these images of rabid kids coming out of the rhododendrons, and it was dusk, and I thought, I'm going to come around this corner and see a couple of little dead children holding hands. And the image was so strong, it sat there in my mind for about 5 years, and every now and then it would come up. But if you leave those things alone, sooner or later the story that they're supposed to be in comes up.
A lot of people would have a thought like that, and it wouldn't inspire them to write something. It would just disturb them. Does it ever do that for you?
Of course it does. That's when you know it's good.
If it's the more disturbing, the better the book.
The more disturbing it is. And one of the things that I've discovered in my long career is it's really tough. You can scare the American people, but sometimes it's very tough to gross them out. Maybe it's because of all the news and everything, but there seems to be a real enjoyment of things that are creepy.
The book takes place in Florida. Edgar Fremantle is the main character. He's had a bad accident at work. He loses an arm, and some of his mental capacity goes with it. Tell me a little more about him. What do I need to know about him?
Edgar was a construction guy who's totally focused on the job. The job is his life. Been married 25 years. Has this accident and comes out of it with the sort of rages that people who suffer head injuries sometimes have. It's rage connected to a loss of memory. And his wife divorces him, and his friend says, "Do you have anything other than your work?" And Edgar says, "Well, I used to draw."
And this friend, a doctor, says, "Take it up again. You need hedges. Hedges against the night."
Right.
What does that mean?
Well, Edgar is considering suicide because the pain is bad. His wife is gone, and he really doesn't see any future for him because he can't do his job anymore. And the psychiatrist basically tells him, "You're worth too much money to kill yourself. The insurance company will investigate and you'll get tarred. You have to live. You're too rich to die."
And when he takes up this, or reconnects with this creative side of himself, is when the freaky things really start happening, which, without putting you on the couch, I mean, what does it say about your creativity? Is that where strange things happen in your life, too?
Not necessarily, but one of the things that I wanted to say in the book was that creativity is a road out of pain and misery and unhappiness, which is one of the reasons why I loved the last book, Lisi's story, because when I wrote it, I started to feel better, and the book was good. But, you know, Matt, really, I wanted to write about those two dead girls.
Yeah, let me talk to you about some of the reviews, which, by the way, the ones I've seen, I don't know whether they selectively handed them to me. They're amazing. Washington Post, King may be meditating on the diverse powers of the creative soul, but he has in no way lost his unmatched gift for ensnaring and chilling his readers with terrible fish-belly fingers. And this one I really like, from the New York Times. So tell me what you think about this. Mr. King's use of horror is not what it used to be. It may still be the impetus for his stories, but it's no longer the foremost reason they're interesting.
That's great. I love it.
That's a wonderful compliment. When you're not just freaking people out and hitting them over the head with the horror. There's a real woven story here that takes us places.
Well, I love story, and I'm more interested in people than I am in the things, the horrible things, the things that go bump in the night. And one of the questions, you know, you sent me a lot of reader questions.
Email questions,
yeah. And one of them said, how do you scare people? What makes a book scary? And to me, if you care about the people that are involved, if they become people that are important to you, then you care. Otherwise, it's just a shooting gallery.
These questions you talk about. Melissa from Emerson, New Jersey, was one of several people to want to know what is your favorite movie adaptation from one of your novels or short stories?
I guess I must be easy. There are a lot of them that I like. I like Stand By Me very much. I love Shawshank Redemption. And I like The Mist that came out last year because it was a really hard-edged. It's kind of a prequel to Cloverfield.
All right, how about this one? This is from Kimberly from Orlando, and she asked, out of all your characters, which one has the most of you in it? Which one could you most easily step into?
Well, a lot of them feel like me because people have this idea that you're doing this secret autobiographical thing when really my idea is just write what you know, so start at a place where you understand and then you just go into the fiction from there. But if any of them are like me, it's probably the boy Gordy who narrates The Body, which became Stand By Me.
All right, and just 15 seconds to go. If after your death, this is Randy from Mesa, Arizona, after your death you knew that only one of your stories would be remembered, which one would you want it to be? A little morbid, but that's all right.
Morbidity is my life. There's a story called The Reach, which really is like Maine, the Maine that I grew up in and people that I know, so that's the one.
And you got me out on time. Duma Key is the book. Stephen, nice to have you here. We're back after your local news.